So you know how I'm like a New Yorker now?
Right.
I got invited to my first New York City art event by my friend Mahesh,
Mm-hmm.
Bengali painter, the craziest painter that I personally know.
Your girlfriend's also a painter.
Yeah, but you're like but like the style is different. Like I wouldn't explain. I wouldn't describe your style as like that's crazy. Like that's ill. It's just like wow, that's like beautiful and gorgeous and like marvelous like and elegant.
Different adjectives.
His shit is just crazy, right?
Yeah.
He had a release party for his new collection at his rooftop. And it was good vibes.
Yeah.
It was very, very cool. I was kind of scared because they were blasting music, like loud speakers and like screaming into the microphone like his friends performed. And it was loud. So like imagine like on the rooftop of your apartment, there's just a party going on and it's loud speakers. Like you would be kind of scared.
Honestly, it's kind of dope though. That's like a true New York event.
That's what I'm getting to. So the cops pull up, right?
Oh.
And like the whole time like waiting around I was like there's no way cops are not pulling up to this. Other than like if they notified cops beforehand,
right.
Which I doubt they did.
Yeah.
So cops pull up and I'm like, all right, it's my time to go. But they're just like waiting in the back and they're just kind of just like bobbing their head. I'm like, yo, y'all not gonna like nothing's going on. And then at one point, one of his friends started like screaming into the microphone, like stupid loud, like you could hear from like 10 blocks away. And then the cops got involved. They're like, hey, quiet down. And they're like, oh, my fault, blah, blah. And then they're just like hanging out in the background, just chilling. And then before I left, I was like, yo, like you guys are cool for like not like being weird about this. Like I'm like I know it's a lot of noise, it's like a nuisance, but like y'all are cool. And they're like, yeah, man, like it's New York City, like like this the kind of stuff that like drives the city. You know
who did have a runway walk on their rooftop?
Who?
Anna Delvey. You know who that is?
I don't.
The girl that went to jail for fraud because she said that she was like a billionaire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, she was on house arrest or something, or she had like an ankle brace on. So the iconic woman that she is, she was like, okay, I can't leave my apartment. Let me just bring the fashion show to my apartment.
I like that.
So she had a whole runway catwalk.
I like that. That's fire.
Yeah.
I do that.
But anyway, that's what it. But you had like a New York experience.
Yeah, type shit. Cool stuff. It felt good. Real New Yorker now.
Yeah.
I want to do something like that. Maybe for like your new collection.
Oh.
Maybe we could do a little party, a little release party.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that.
Speaking of new collection, you want to share any details about it? I mean, she just got her samples. She's hush more about. She just got her samples, and I'm not gonna lie. Shit hit. This is V1. Wait till y'all see V2.
Volume 1. He's wearing Volume 1 right now.
V2's gonna be crazy.
Old Barty shirt that we're gonna have a restock for soon. But
yeah,
new collections coming soon. Little summertime play.
We're gonna make it happen.
And we're excited about that because it's been a year in the works. I actually
Long
started
time.
The designs around this time last year. I sent it in around the summertime last year.
Oh my God, you did.
Like when I was planning last collection and dropped that's when I was also working on the next collection. So that's how long you guys have to work on things like this.
I'm excited. But it's right there. I'm looking at it. Looks good.
It's coming out soon.
Looks good. Stay tuned.
labyrinthaf.com,
Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning back into our podcast called
Difficulties.
A podcast about
is this like our jingle? Like, why are you singing it?
No, it's a different jingle. Like,
okay.
Like next time I'm gonna scream it into the microphone. This podcast was by myself, and my co-host. And before we end any further video, subscribe to the channel, review,
I don't even know what you said.
Help us out, support us.
Yeah.
Hope you guys like the podcast. Hope you guys like us. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok. All that shebang
Boom.
And yeah, let's get it popping. I mean, fit breakdown, Labyrinth. I have nothing else to say. What you got on today?
We don't care about the pants or anything.
Nah, pants is Gucci. It's whatever.
You keep saying Gucci, but it's Guess. It's from Guess.
Same thing. Who's counting?
Yeah, nothing crazy about my fit. Skirts old. From the old days.
Yeah.
Got some new slippers. If you guys couldn't tell, I had to throw out the other ones. They were.
But why? Yeah.
They
why?
were just down bad.
Yeah, their lifespan was coming to an end.
Lifespan was
far
done.
Beyond.
Thrifted shirt, but how it is. Nice little, pretty little
calm,
thing.
nice color. Looks like the morning sky.
Yeah, the night sky. But anyway, today's episode we're talking about taking risks in our 20s.
Yeah.
Risks that scared the hell out of us, risks that were very scary that we didn't want to do, where we had to definitely get ourselves out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
But things that were necessary for our growth, things that really helped us feel more confident and like we respect ourselves, right?
Right.
Because I saw this TikTok where this woman basically made a list of all the things that she tried out in her 20s. She's like 30 something now, or she just turned 30. And there are small things, some big things, you know, things that you can take inspo from. That's the point of making this video, where it feels like tangible enough. You know, where, you know how sometimes people are like, oh, take risks.
Yeah.
And it's like the extreme of the extreme. It's like, oh, take a risk, jump off a plane.
Right.
You know, take a risk and just like move out.
Yeah, calm.
Like, what the hell? Yeah, that is a good risk, and I'm probably going to talk about that. But also, what's a smaller type of risk that is more like
that you could take like
tangible
today,
that you can take today? You know, like those small steps.
And it'll help you out.
And it's like, people always talk about, you know, building your self-confidence. Like, don't let other people walk all over you. Don't, you know, like, care about other people's opinions. But how do you, like, take those small, tangible steps to actually get to that point?
Yeah.
Where you start building up, like, your self-respect and confidence, you know?
I like that.
Where things feel, like, easier for you to do for yourself, you know?
I like that. Yeah, because, you know, risks are, like, in they're inherently, you know, scary.
Inherent.
Like, for me,
yeah,
we're expanding nowadays.
Right.
Because, you know, like, what is a risk? A risk is challenging the status quo.
Wow.
You know,
Where'd you get that little definition just now?
Off the Domington.
That was good. No stuttering either.
And now I'm just challenged. No, you know, doing anything against the status quo is always going to be, you know, you're always going to have second thoughts. Like, oh, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing, like, you don't know if it's wrong. You don't know if it's right.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, it's what you don't really see people doing. You know, if you look at somebody that's just like living like a normal life, a normal 9 to 5, and going to work, coming home, and just living like a very typical life, like, you're gonna look at that and be like, oh, like, that's the goal because that's what most people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
But just because most people are doing it doesn't mean that it's always meant for you. You know
what, I'm reading a book right now, right?
Yeah.
I want to give a little quote from it. I'm only up to like page 30 or something.
Okay.
The book's called The 4-Hour Workweek, right?
Yeah.
And there's a section in the book where it says, ask for forgiveness, don't ask for permission. So let me break that down for a little bit.
Ask for forgiveness, don't ask for
permission.
No, I said that wrong way.
No. Yeah, ask for forgiveness.
Ask for forgiveness.
Don't ask for permission.
Don't ask for
So
permission.
that basically means instead
it.
of you asking the world, oh, I want to change this career path, but it's scary. Instead of you asking your parents, can I change my passion? Can I do this? Just do it. And then if it's not
like, if it don't work out,
if it's like lethal to society, then ask for forgiveness.
Okay.
But at least you tried it. But if it's something that you actually want to do, just go ahead and do it. And don't ask other people to get that validation and that approval when you can just go ahead and do it.
It's true. It's your life.
Like that one?
I like that
you
one.
Like that one?
I like that one.
Yeah.
4-hour work week.
Yeah.
But
anyway, you want to get started?
Yeah, you want to get started?
This is a little like inspo board for you, okay? If you guys are kind of like,
shit.
oh my God, how do I get started in doing these risks? Because risks are kind of scary and they're so grand.
Yeah.
Let's get started.
Yeah. Sorry if there's
sound?
like, that's the heater. Sorry if there's like some whistling in the background.
It's just whistling.
It's just
You actually don't know how to whistle, do you?
Nah, I do. Look. Hold on. Wait. Wait, stop laughing.
It's just
Nah, they heard it.
I saw a TikTok of this baby. He's like, I want to burp too. And he's like,
right.
Anyway.
Yeah, okay. Get started.
My first one is I joined a boxing class.
Oh.
In my mid-20s.
Oh.
Okay.
How's that a risk? Write that down.
This is small just because it's a class, essentially. It's not like a big grand thing of me like getting married or like, you know, moving out. But this is big in my eyes. You know, it's like all about perspective. It's big in my eyes because I feel like it's scary to start a hobby or like a sport or whatever it is, a passion, when you're getting like older and older. Obviously, when I was younger, I was a part of so many different hobbies. Like I was in karate, I was in singing, dancing, Arabic class, like this and that, right? But I feel like once you get older, you have more responsibilities, you feel more judged, you feel like you're too old for something. You know, other people have already had more experience with it, so you feel like the stupidest one in the class. So it's just like, why do it, you know? And I feel like boxing has always been one of those things where I've wanted to do it for a while, but I just kept pushing it off and off because I'm like, okay, there's no perfect time for this. Like, let me just wait until I get more money or time or whatever. Or I'm going to be dumb. I'm going to be the oldest one in the class. Like, there's no point in me starting now. But it's also like, if you keep saying that to yourself. Also, when I wanted to start, I was in my 20s. I wasn't even old, you know?
Yeah.
But you have like this mental roadblock. So I was like, okay, there's no point in me starting. I don't want to be weak and dumb and like, you know, the stupidest one, like the worst thing, like just you know. So anyway, I started in like the last year, like I went more actively, you know. And I took it more serious. In the beginning, I didn't really buy like any equipment for myself because I was like, okay, let me just try it out. If I don't like it, I don't have much money invested in it anyway. And I was definitely the weakest in the class. I was actually the weakest in the class for months and months, and I felt so like dumb where I didn't want to keep going anymore. But then I got into it more. I kept going even though I didn't feel strong. And then finally I got like more up to the standard that I wanted to. I got stronger. I got, you know, a few compliments from my instructor and things like that. And now I'm just like proud of myself, you know? And it's just like the small thing that builds up your self-confidence because you finally give yourself that self-respect of like doing the thing that you want to do. And because it's so hard and because you didn't really expect yourself to do it, it like boosts your ego and it makes you feel like you can accomplish like so many other things, you know? And also, since it is boxing, it's a physical exercise, right? Once you do work out and you have like that physical exercise, it makes your mental well-being better, you know. It gives you like that physical strength, but also the mental strength, you know.
Yeah. Another thing with box classes that I've noticed is like when all the box classes I've gone to, it's always older people. Like it's always like people that are usually older than I am. You know, and people that, you know, they might be better than I am, but they're
older
not like,
than you is like what, 6 years old?
What's happening? Like I'm trying to make my point.
All right, go
5 years old taking box class. Nah, because, you know, if you heard my solo episode that I did a couple months ago, I talked about how I went to a boxing class and I wasn't doing very good, and the boxing coach kept referring to the class as ladies. It was me and 4 other women, and he referred to all of the class as ladies.
So
you know, and he would look at me. He was like, "All right, ladies." I was like
direct eye contact.
Yeah. You know, that messed with me for a while, but like, you know, it really builds up just like that like discipline to like push yourself and like to always like do better. And you know, you go into a class and like within like 5 minutes you'll be like, damn, like I really don't know anything, like my cardio sucks, like I'm not strong. But by the end of the class, like when you like break a sweat and like when you get through like all 60 minutes, like you feel proud of yourself, like you feel like accomplished, and you're like excited to like do it again, and like you go home just like
oh wow, do you do that when you go home?
Yeah, like
but I feel
on like the train and
I feel like that's what it is. You know how a lot of people hate running but they also love it, like kind of like you. It's like the act of starting it is hard, and it's like there are so many points throughout the run where you want to quit because you're like huffing and puffing. But then once you're done with the race and you like exceed your own expectations and your potential, you're kind of like, oh wow, I did that, like I can do so much more. And then you kind of like compete with yourself again and again, and you try to get better, and it's just like your own mental roadblock, you know.
Exactly.
You love running, right?
I like running. Yeah, it makes my ankles hurt, but you know, like just need some better shoes. Maybe Hoka, reach out to us.
Hoka. What's your risk that you took?
I got a few.
Let's talk about one.
We could talk about one to start off. Getting a job in a better area in your city. That's something that I did. So as a little bit of background, I grew up in like an inner city community, you know, like lower income community. There wasn't really much going on like my area, and I was definitely far out from like where the like better businesses were and where like more opportunity would be available and stuff. And my whole life up to like me being 19, I just worked in my area. Like I had the Florida Mall, I had the bookstore that I worked at. It was all just like literally within a quarter of a mile radius from like my house, and there really wasn't much going on in my area. And I got the opportunity to work at a coffee shop that was like 35 minutes away from my area. And the car I had was not a good car. It could barely get on the highway. Like, I wouldn't trust myself getting on the highway with that car. And gas was expensive, and I was broke. But I told myself, I just had like some wild intuition. I was like, I need to get out of here. Like, I need to escape my, quarter-mile radius and like try something else. And so I started working at this other coffee shop that was super far, and it was really, really weird because I worked with all white people, and white people was something that I just never saw in my area, in my community. And it was so, like, I'm not even being dramatic. It was just really hard to like conform to like how like white people operate in like a business, and like white customers and white coworkers.
I mean, you were the minority too.
I was like literally one of like 3 minority that worked at that place out of like 30 people. And apart from like the skin color, it was just like the background that like I come from was just different than any of their backgrounds and stuff. So it took a long time to conform, and like I had like so many conversations with my sister about just like how do I communicate with people that don't understand like where I come from. Like, it was so hard for me at that time. And like I used to look at all these people and like they all get along, they all have things in common. I have nothing to talk to them about. And like that messed with me for a long time, because I was like, I wanted to quit at so many points. I wanted to get back to like just like my friends, and like I don't think I hung out with any of them for like till like a year of working there. I finally started hanging out with some of the people, because I was like, I have nothing like that we share at all. But in that experience, I learned so much during that time. But I think the most important thing I learned is it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter what you like to do. You can get along with anybody as long as you're just a good person, and you know how to be friendly, and you know how to talk. Like, it could be someone from the opposite world of you. I met people that were from another world than I was from, just their interests and like political views and just anything. But it's like a lot of that, to an extent, of course, all that stuff matters when it comes to building like a long-term, close, genuine friendship. But like, if you just want to get along with people, if you want to just hang out and like go to like the pool club after and play some billiards and some darts and shit, like, you don't need to have all that in common. You could get along with anybody.
But you know what's so crazy? I feel like throughout that whole journey, like, you had so many like mental roadblocks telling you to not do that and not follow through with it. Like, your first mental roadblock was kind of like, oh, it's too far away, I don't have enough money for gas, like there's no point in me working that far when I can just find a job nearby. And then that almost stopped you. And then your next one was when you took the job and you were like, oh my god, this is all just people that I'm not used to, I have to conform, like I might as well just quit and not even try. That was your next one. So there was like so many layers to it where you kind of had to just like push yourself more and more and get out of your comfort zone. But like, imagine if you didn't even like follow through with that. I wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't be here, because like on one end I learned like my people skills from that. Like, I was a barista at like a nicer coffee shop in like one of the nicest areas in Orlando, Winter Park. And I just learned how to like have small talk and learn how to talk to people, because I just didn't do any of that my whole life, specifically people that I'm just different than. Like, I had to learn how to like stop saying like what's up. Like, I'd be like, hi, how are you? And like,
you would say it like that?
Yeah. And like, it's not even like for the first couple months I was like, oh, like they're trying to change me, they're trying to make me something that I'm not. But it's like, no, it's just like, it's okay to not say like subject all the time. like it's fine to learn different ways of communication. Doesn't mean you're changing as a person. So that's one end. And then the other end was just like all the opportunity that all the like amazing people that I was able to meet and connect with. Like, I'm where I am today in my life because I worked there, because I got an internship at a marketing agency there, and then another internship, and then I got my first big boy job, which eventually I like led me here. So it's like, if I didn't take that risk, if I just tried to stay comfy in like my home area where like I'm familiar, and like that area I wasn't familiar, like it was like I knew everything in my circle, I didn't know what was out there.
Isn't it so crazy how it like all kind of like,
it's butterfly effect.
It's a butterfly effect. Yeah, like all catalysts into one other thing.
I talk about that a lot.
The next thing where it's like you took that risk and you got more confident with like your people skills and like talking, and also like within yourself and your self-confidence. But then that also made you talk to like the right people and network, and then you got more and more opportunities. And it's like so wild that if like one thing didn't happen, like you wouldn't.
And it's also,
you know?
just make like I was talking to my cousin a while ago, and he just started college, and he's like, yo, like how do I how do I end up getting a job? Like how do I what can I do now? Like start as like a freshman in college. Like I don't have anything on my resume. Like what can I do to try to get an internship? And I just told him, I was like, yo, like it's not, this isn't like concrete, but it's like you have to just make yourself as available to opportunity as possible. So you have to put yourself in these spaces. You have to open yourself up. You have to talk to people when you don't feel like talking to people. Not expecting them to give you a handout, but like just make yourself available for opportunity as possible.
Just like opening up that practice too.
So like me there, I made myself available to opportunity, and opportunity came. So.
Yeah, dude. Now you're in New York, buddy.
Shit. Yeah. Okay. Go. Your turn.
My next one is leaving a toxic friend group.
Oh my God.
It had to be said.
That's where we're going.
It had to be.
That's where we're going.
So the thing is, I mean, I'm not going to even say toxic. I would say leaving a friend group that didn't serve me, right? But it can be toxic if that's what that relates to. I feel like when you are in a comfortable friend group where you grew up with the people, and also, disclaimer, I'm still best friends with the people that I grew up with from elementary school, right? Like my best friends, it's been 15, 20 years.
Damn.
But there are also other groups of people that you were friends with for a long time, from college, elementary school, whatever it is. And you've been with them for a while, but they aren't necessarily like growing with you anymore. They're not necessarily like supporting you as much anymore. But you're still with them because you're most comfortable with them. Like they know you the best, and like you've already been with them this whole time. Like why get into another friendship? Why get, not be with them, right? And it's very understandable. Also, some people don't even have the space to find other friends in their head. They think they'll never find any other friends if they leave this friend group behind, right? But also, at the end of the day, it's really important to kind of maybe distance yourself from the people that don't really help you out with your life or your feelings or whatever anymore. And maybe potentially have that period of loneliness and alone time and uncomfortability where you kind of want to go back to them, but you also know that you have to stay alone and maybe learn about yourself and then make potentially new friends.
Yeah.
It's really important to go through that phase, right? And let me tell you, it's also very hard, right? Like mashnun and I both have gone through this. We've made several episodes on us having no friends or feeling very lonely. And it's very hard, right? But also at the end of the day, do you long-term see yourself with this group of people that don't serve you anymore? Maybe they're even like bring you down. Maybe they're not even like your biggest supporters, maybe they're just haters. Whatever it is, whatever the case is, right? I feel like when I left my friend group, it was scary, hard, whatever, for a couple of months, maybe even a year, whatever it was. But I think I got to that point of like self-confidence where I'm like, damn, if I can leave behind this past life of full of people that were so close to me back in the day and still are, obviously, but we just like didn't work out. Same thing with if you're leaving behind like a toxic relationship, right? If I can do that, I can do anything.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's hard to get out of your comfort zone and your comfort people too, like even with a toxic relationship, it's hard. Even if they're treating you like shit, it's hard to get out of that because you're so like familiar with them, right? But once you have like that time to reflect, that alone time away from them, and you make that tough decision to basically like cut them off forever, it makes you feel like the people that are right for you, that belong in your life, will come in your life, and it will make you feel like invincible, you know? Like me actually having that alone time and me exploring myself and knowing what I deserve made like the right people come into my life. And now it just feels like, why did I even like go through that back in the day,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like that's like a huge thing, and it's a huge step into your like self expression, freedom, confidence,
I think like a harsh reality that like I had to learn growing up is that the people that were in your life like towards like the beginning of your life or like early stages of your life,
or like whenever you needed them most,
they're not gonna last forever. Like they're not meant to last forever. Like the people that are in your life in the beginning of your life, everybody has like their time, you know, like maybe just because they were there from the beginning doesn't mean that they're meant to last. You know, everybody's going through their own thing. Everybody's living their own life. Everybody's growing at their own pace with like their own people too. And like people drift and it's irregular, you know, like,
and you don't have to force it to last either.
Yeah.
Like don't force a relationship that isn't meant to be there.
And like when we feel people drifting away, we get like worried or anxious or like, oh, like what's wrong? What am I doing wrong? But it's like, it's normal, bro. It's like drifting is normal, but it's like if they come back, you know, that means that like they want to stay with you, or like if they're trying to fix things, and like if they have that conversation like, yo, I know that like you're going this way, I'm going this way, like we ended up different, but like I still want to be close. Like that's what matters. It's like you guys are not gonna go to the same place together like side by side. Like that's not regular. It doesn't happen most of the time.
You ever drift from like a friendship?
Yeah, of course. And it was the same situation. It was like, yo, we grew up together, we gotta end together.
Wow.
But it's like that's a fairy tale, you know, like it can't come true. Like I'm sure some of y'all got friendships that start early, it's gonna last forever, but and that's what everybody wants, you know, like everybody wants that.
Yeah, people think that's like the dream life,
but if it's not meant to happen, it's not meant to happen. Y'all can convene later on in life, you know, that also happens. So yeah. All right, my next one, it's a little story time. I don't know if I told this on the pod before.
Have you told me?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember. I don't know. So I got my first big boy job interview. It's for a position that I have no experience in. The recruiter reached out to me. She said, we're doing interviews, blah, blah. Got an interview. It was in downtown Orlando. It was like my first professional interview too. I've only interviewed at like coffee shops and shit. Like I've never had like an actual interview. Whatever, dress up, you know, button downs. No, I have like this black polo I wear all the time. It's a black polo, slacks, dress shoes, right? I pull up, parking garage, park my car, step out the car. The entire sole of my shoe comes off. Imagine the sole of the shoe off, gone. So it's just shoe and nothing at the bottom.
Right.
Nothing at the bottom.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm trying to understand.
So at this point, I look at my foot. Like literally, I'm looking at my foot, and I'm like, time to go home.
Right.
It's time to go home.
Right.
I have no business here anymore. I have nothing to do here anymore. My soul is gone. I have no soul left. You know?
Your soul figuratively and
but, you know, I told myself. Why are you crying, bro? I told myself.
You're a funny guy.
I told myself, job's not done.
Right.
Job's not done.
Right.
I gotta go make it happen.
Right.
Even if I go in and embarrass myself, even if they see that I don't have my soul, like I have to go. Even if I'm out in 5 minutes, they're laughing at me on my way out.
Why would they be laughing at you?
You know, grown men and women like 40 years old.
He has no soul.
Yeah, so like I go in and it's like 4 rounds of interview like back to back, and they start with like 40 people and then they ended with like 5. Right. So all my interviews like I'm like this like
just sitting with your cross.
Yeah, like so nobody sees that I don't have a soul, right?
Yeah.
And like I remember during lunchtime they all had pizza and they're like I was sitting, I didn't want to get up, I didn't want to see nobody, I didn't have a soul, but. And then they're like, oh, Mushroom, come get pizza. I was like, no, I'm not hungry. I'm on a diet. I was starving.
So hungry.
I haven't eaten in so long.
They got the food because they hurt their stomach.
But I get through all the rounds in interview, and I get the job. And I didn't go home.
What's the moral of the story?
I finally went home.
What's the moral of the story?
Y'all understand, like, the moral of the story. Like, it doesn't really need to be said. It's like, you know, in these times when, like, God is testing you, and you don't have a soul, like, you feel your soul has transitioned.
Like, your actual soul.
Right? Like, you gotta push through. Because what are the odds that I got the... Think about it. Like, really think about it. Like, I was about to leave. I wasn't even about to go. And I got the job, and that job has got me where I am today. And the craziest part is I got the job, and, like, 3 weeks later, the world shuts down. And I am blessed to work from home.
And then you met me.
It's gotta be about you. The world shut down, and I was blessed to have a remote job for all of COVID.
Like, you didn't lose your job.
I worked more, I think, during COVID, whereas everybody lost their job. Everybody.
All right, you don't gotta make everyone feel bad now.
Sorry. But you know what I mean? It's like in these times where like you're being tested, bro.
You're just
like, you
like
just
more
gotta,
grateful.
you just have to, even if it means embarrassing yourself, even if it means like being a little hungry for an extra couple hours, like you really just gotta like, if you like really believe, if like what is like on the other side of like the door for you is just like greatness and opportunity
And
like
so close to reach.
it's like you just gotta push through. Like you just got to. Even it'll hurt for a couple hours. It might not work out, but if it does, man, you'll be telling this story on a podcast. You know.
Here we are, 4 years later.
Tight shit.
And you know what's so crazy? During Eid last year, the sole of my heels actually came off.
Oh yeah.
And instead of me crying and throwing up,
right.
I pulled off the other one. Like, and I'm like, I'm not gonna let this ruin my day.
Like you just wanted to relate to my story.
No,
so
I'm
bad.
I'm just saying, people can take a bad situation and just go home and just like ruin their whole week, right?
Yeah.
Or you can laugh about it and just like, haha, let's move on.
Yeah, and I told that story, I think like a couple weeks into like my job. I was like, yo, like you guys know, like I was not about to be here. It was just like it's a funny story, you know.
Yeah.
So like it's funny how life works out. So like when you're being tested, man, push through. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
All right, your turn.
So my next one, a bigger risk, definitely. So I moved out alone. Right.
Wow. That's where we're going.
I moved out alone to New York City at the age of 23, which, you know, for some people, that's an older age. But for me, it was a big deal because first, 23 was still pretty young for me. I was still in college. Second, I was not financially there at all, especially to live alone in New York was not something I ever thought was possible. Next thing, I'm from a South Asian immigrant family, right? And I'm a woman. Intersectional, right? Different things that play a part in me not being able to have the life that I wanted, right? Or so I thought. So I was always told, no, you can't live alone. You can't move out until you're married. You can't do that. You know, just a no. There was an option for me to dorm, but that was taken away from me. So I just didn't think that it was possible for me to just have my own space and move out, you know? So many, like, roadblocks.
Yeah.
Because also affording it is a big deal. I knew that I was not going to get any financial help.
Yeah.
So anyway, I decided to finally take the plunge and move out, even when I... Why are you laughing?
Take the plunge, like
you didn't like that?
Is that a thing?
When you say inherent, it's not a problem. But
that's literally a word. Inherent.
Is take the plunge not?
Take the plunge.
Yes,
there's
it's
no
a saying.
way that's a real saying.
It's
I don't
a saying.
believe it.
What the hell is wrong with you?
You made that up.
Are you
please continue.
like okay in the head?
Just know that you made it up. You can keep going though.
Like you guys, please comment down below. Is this man like okay?
Take the plunge. Okay.
All right. Anyway, so I moved out, right, and I did not feel financially ready at all. Actually, for the first year, basically, of moving out of me, moved out and living alone, I didn't have an income. I was doing my master's, so I was taking all of my money out of my savings. Thankfully, I had a savings account because of all the jobs I had, and I was just using that to pay rent and just like survive. And it was so hard. Like, there were so many times where I was like, oh my God, I made the wrong decision. Let me just move back home, right? And this whole process was very much like, oh my God, I made the wrong choice. And it's pushing me to go backwards, right? But I followed through with it. And I did what I had to do. And I'm here now, you know? And it's just such a crazy thing because, like, I questioned the norms. I was the first female in my family to move out, first of all. Second of all, live alone and, you know, do it before marriage. And it's just like such a big deal in my head. And me doing this step for myself has just made me feel more confident alone. You know, I'm so much more able to just like travel freely now by myself, live alone. I'm so much happier in my own company. I don't like feel bored if I'm by myself. I actually love being by myself now. And I feel like these things are not as accepted or welcomed in like the culture that we grew up in. And you know, we're kind of dependent on one another. We're in a very codependent culture for the most part, and that's why we love like having a close-knit family, just like all living together in the same home. So this is why it's like so important for me and like such a big deal for me, you know. And obviously moving out is like a bigger deal. It's harder to do. But I think if like more women took that step to just try out being by themselves, not even moving out alone, but like just doing more things by themselves instead of asking like their friends or like whoever else to come with them. It just makes them feel more capable, you know. So I definitely think this was like a big hard-hitting thing for my self-confidence. You know?
You got it.
Nothing else to add?
I mean, my last one was moving out too.
Come on now.
Nah, I'll just add on. You know, I moved out at 23 as well. Biggest risk of, I don't know about big risk of my life. Barely had the income to afford that, plus everything on like back at home that I was also paying for. But
you did it.
That year was the most productive year of my life. What I felt the most accomplished I've ever felt during that year, and it was so worth it. Even though I didn't see my bank account go up, I saw it go down. But like after, by the time I moved in,
you saw your mental health go up.
Yeah, everything else went up, but like bank account went down. But at the end of the day, you know, fine. It's worth it.
It's fine.
It'll go back up.
Yeah,
you know,
it's fine. Yeah, like you know, you moved to New York, and you are in a whole different state.
Yeah,
so I'm proud of you.
Oh,
it's hard to do.
Oh, me?
You.
Yeah, you know.
Came here all the way from Orlando.
You know, just trying to make it happen.
Uprooting your whole life.
Yeah.
Finally, like, following through with that dream that you've had since you were a little boy. You got to. Coming back to New York to pursue your dreams.
You got to, you know. You only live once.
But it's not easy to do. It took you years to do it.
It did.
You want to talk about that for a sec?
I mean, what else is there to say, you know?
Like it took you years and mental roadblocks to finally push through and get here. And now here you are.
Now I'm here. You know, just trying to, you know, what's the word? I'm just trying to
make your younger self happy.
No, well, yeah, but just trying to, you know, show by action. That's all. You know, just like less talking, more doing. That's all.
That's good. What was like the final push for you? You know how like you keep saying like, oh, I'm gonna move there one day. Like after this one thing, I'm gonna move. Like, what was the final like? Okay, I'm doing it. Like I have to do it. Because it happened pretty recently when you were 25.
I don't know. I just felt it. I was like, it's time to separate. It's time to, you know, you feel when you're entering that next stage in your life, and it's up to you whether you want to make the change or not. You know, but like when you feel that it's right, that's your sign to make it happen. And I could have not listened and stayed at home and kept doing what I was doing, but I just decided to take that risk. That's all. And listening to my heart. That's all. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it does work out, at least I listened to myself and I gave myself that.
Proud of you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. Anyways,
as you guys know, we ask you guys on our Instagram at
difficult-ish. We
don't have to say it together.
No, let's try. Let's say it and let's see if we can say the same thing.
Okay.
Right.
As you guys know,
we ask you guys why we're on difficult-ish Instagram, and we share with you what you guys what you gave up.
Well, I wasn't trying to do
it. Okay.
I never agreed.
Here's what you guys said.
Yeah, you guys know that we always tell you guys the episode that we're gonna record for the most part, and you sent in your responses.
Yeah.
So if you want to be featured, send it in and follow us on our Instagram.
Yeah, hit us up.
To know ahead of time.
Number one.
So we asked you, what are some risks that you took in your 20s or whenever that really helped with your self-confidence?
Y'all are some risky people.
Risky audience we got.
Avoiding, quote unquote, people pleasing. Ooh. By realizing that being assertive and confrontational aren't the same.
Yeah.
Being assertive and confrontational aren't the same.
Are not congruent. You like that one? You like that word?
That's different.
Geometry. That's Geometry 101. Congruent. Being assertive. Being assertive and putting yourself first does not make you rude.
Nope.
Does not make you hate them. It's not a personal attack to them. That's just you putting yourself first and standing up for yourself.
Yeah, standing up for yourself. Letting people know you mean business. You know, stand on business. That's all.
Yeah. Can I read some or no?
I mean, I already had some of mine, but
okay.
Yeah, you know, while she's looking at that,
no, you can do it since I just want to get you to stop talking.
Okay. Moved to Scotland for vet school after living in Florida my whole life. So, you know,
Scotland,
international international.
Not travel, move.
You know, moving for school, you know, or something. International move. That's kind of crazy.
You know how you move from Orlando to New York?
Yeah.
No.
You know, deep down, I've always like fantasized about doing like an international move. Like how
you've done it though, kind of. Like you've
I
done long.
I lived in Colombia for like 5 weeks. That's it.
Okay.
But like at least like 3 months or something. That's just in like Bali.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, like that's just. Man, like I'm gonna do that one day.
This is the time.
One day. Yeah.
This is the time.
I'm gonna do that one day. Shout out to you. I like that. I messes with that.
Good for you. That's huge.
One for you, buddy-o. Quitting my full-time teaching job in the UK to save my mental health.
I feel that. I was gonna say another thing in this episode, but I didn't just because we've said so. Maybe we'll do a part 2.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say like changing career paths.
Yeah.
Because as you guys might also know, I was a teacher.
Wow.
I got my master's in childhood education. So I was on the path to being that full time. And then I chose to pursue something completely different and pursue like my art and fashion design, social media career with none of that professional experience. So it's definitely very scary, and good for you for putting yourself and your mental health first by quitting that job and, you know, putting aside all of those like scary things like, oh my God, how am I going to afford this? How am I going to live life now without an income? You'll figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
And you'll get a job maybe that's more up your alley if that's what you want to do.
You will.
Yeah.
Moving to Cali for law school as a NYC Daisy girl whose parents monitored her every move. You know, so trying to build a little bit of a gap between you and maybe your helicopter parents, you know?
How does that feel?
I mean, yeah, man, it's like, are you going to do it now or when you're 35? You know, like you got to rip the Band-Aid off. There's a time when it's best to do it. It's going to be hard regardless of when you do it in your life, but there's a time where it's the best time to do it. And the best time is, you know, that early 20s to peel off that Band-Aid, because I have family, not blood family members, but like I know Bengali people that have lived home for a very, very long time, and you see the effects that it has on that person. And you know, a lot of what they say is just they wish they tried to build some separation earlier in their life. So it's like, do it now, rip it off, or kind of regret it when you're older.
That was fire. That was a good way to end it.
I know. Oh, there it goes. Anyways, yeah, thank you guys. How'd you like that? How'd you like that?
Yeah,
good?
I like that
good?
one.
Good
do you
one.
feel like more like free since you
released?
Yeah. Like, do you feel more proud of yourself?
I do.
Because I feel like that's what it is. It's like the little things that we have to be proud of, and like sometimes we forget it because, you know, we're trying to get to the next thing, the next big thing. But it's like really the small wins that have gotten us here.
It's so easy to you know, disregard all the progress you've made in life, you know?
Yeah.
Gotta remind yourself.
Yeah. Proud of you, buddy.
Thanks. Proud of you.
Maybe we'll make a part 2 episode because we have so many more like small and big risks that we've.
I'm a wild boy.
Oh.
I take a lot of risks.
Do you?
Nah. You got 10-second advice?
My 10-second advice is try to have some more mini retirements in your workflow.
Oh.
Mini retirements, because I say this again, I'm reading this for our work book, and you know, a lot of us have this idea where we have to participate in this corporate rat race until we're like 62. When we retire, then we can have a retirement and enjoy life. But then we're so old to the point where we don't even want to go outside and go on vacations or whatever it is anymore, and we're so burnt out. Why not do like mini retirements or like mini vacations where we kind of rejuvenate ourselves and rest, so we don't have to continuously be burnt out working through the burnout and expecting a good life after 40 years.
There you go.
You like that one?
There you go. You killed that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I just I realized that I didn't turn off the AC.
I know.
When did you realize that?
In the beginning.
So what? You didn't want to tell? My advice is I'm gonna just let you guys in on a little secret. I'm a vlogger now, and I have a YouTube channel, and I posted my first vlog.
It's a secret?
It's a secret because I haven't announced it, but I'm announcing for the people that have listened 50 minutes into this episode.
Yeah, it's a little secret for you. Inside scoop.
I'll link it. I'll link my YouTube channel. Subscribe.
So what's your tip?
It's just my.
Oh, that is a risk though. Like you took a risk.
Yeah, a
and
little risk.
Did the
a little risk, you know.
Yeah.
Shooting the second video now. Yeah, stay tuned.
Proud of you.
Thanks. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning into our episode of Difficult Dish, hosted by myself and my partner. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and tune in next week for another episode of
Difficult Dish. And mini solo episodes coming soon again.
And more fun, always.
All right, we love you guys so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.